Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Inhabit Mars channel. Today we are in Arlington, Texas at the Lux Hotel. This place is great. I know that people were talking about doing a convention or something in the live chat. If you want a great place to do it, this hotel, they do conventions here, and they have some two big convention rooms downstairs and seven, did he say? Smaller ones. We were talking with the guy, so I think it was Archetype Net during the live chat that was talking about that. And hey, if you want to do it in Arlington, Texas, this is a great hotel. But anyway, today we are going to look at this video right here from Chris, which he posted on August 6th, and is called Crane-like Machines and Structures Found on Our Moon. Now, this was a follow-up to a previous video that he did, and this lady here, Michel, actually wound up looking at images of the moon from the Onhala University, and she was also a fan of Chris's page. I'm just going to show you their page real quick. This is where we get our image from the moon that we're going to use tonight, and you can go to their website, either the Kamaleon or Onhala Observatory, and they have some really high resolution pictures of the moon, and it was pretty good stuff. But let's go back here, and you can check out Sarah Michel's page. She did a lot of work on this stuff to clean up a lot of these images, and I think I said it in the last video. I believe she was using it for a client or something. She needed a big full-size moon for the backdrop or something, and she started looking into this close, and she wound up finding some really interesting structures on the moon when she went to clean up the images and zoomed into certain parts of it. It was really interesting. Let's take a look. Jenny. Oh, I did introduce her in the last video, and I'm going to introduce her in this one. This is my girlfriend Jenny. She's wearing her rock and roll ribs t-shirt. We are big fans of that restaurant. If you're ever down in Coral Springs, Florida, check out Nico McBrain's Rock and Roll Ribs. If you don't know, he's the drummer for Iron Maiden, and we stop in there just about every time we get to Florida. We go down there. All right, so let's look at this first image here. This is where she started cleaning up the images, and I won't go through all of the images that she puts up, or the whole video will be on that, but I really recommend going to her page, and I'll put the link in there. But she started noticing structures in here, and we're going to look at some of these structures that she found. This is one where she circled it, and she found what looks like a cable crane in there, and we're going to go into what we discovered in that when we get into the model itself. And let's see, this should be, yeah, here's where she's got it marked, and she actually puts up an image of what a cable crane looks like, and then some of the detail that she put in. Okay, that was that one. And then another thing that was on there, where she has circled this in the red, if you can see this, she put a blue filter on it. She cleaned up the image, and I think she burned through some of this too, and we did some more burning on it, and we went ahead and circled some stuff too. So we burned a little bit more on the image, just to see if we could bring out a little more detail, and then we began modeling some of this stuff, and I'll be flipping back and forth through the image and the Blender Live. I'm not going to do too many render images tonight. In fact, wow, I forgot to put up that. Okay, so we'll go straight into the model. But let's start with this one right here. Now, what I did was I took this into Blender and I modeled right on top of her image here and try to put everything in place. And then what I did, if you remember from our last, from the preview from the last video, that I actually made a model of the moon, well, half of the moon, and we started placing the objects on there, but I decided to go with putting panels in front of the moon so we could show you a little better what these things look like. So the first thing that we're going to do is, let's bring up Blender, of course, okay, all right, and this is where we start, right here. And I just want to show you where these objects are located. What I did was rotate it to where this C here and the two large C's, and I forget their names, wow, were on top. And if you do that, you'll see that this is where she found those objects. And I'm just going to rotate it just a little bit. And you're just to the left of this C right here. You start coming over here and you'll start seeing those structures. All right, I'm going to click on one so that we can see where we're looking. And as you get closer in, you're going to notice that the texture breaks up because we're zoomed in pretty close, and this is about the best we could get with the image. And we're going to start right about here, and I just want to give you kind of the layout here, and then we'll go to the panels that I actually have placed in the image. But just some of the stuff that you can see in this area right here, and some of this took a while to figure out, and we're not sure, you know, that we're 100% right, and we're not trying to tell you, you know, oh, it is this way or it isn't. All we're trying to tell you is what we saw and what we modeled. All right, so let's go. I'm going to zoom out from our moon, and like I said, originally I was going to just place everything on the moon and have you look from that area. But these are some of the other structures which we'll see in the other panel. All right, but like I say, it just became easier. You can see that I have one of the panels sitting right here, and it's just easier to see everything on these panels, especially if I come from above and we look down. Click on something here. You get a better idea of what we're looking at. Now, one of the first things, and I just want to say, she made some extraordinary finds in these images, and we're not sure about the cable crane, and I couldn't see enough detail to see if it actually was a cable crane. It looks more like a wall and then this pipe, and I'll try to explain that when I get into the image, but that doesn't mean she's wrong, not by any means. We can't tell. I couldn't see it. I passed the image along. I've got about 4 people that were helping me on this image, including Jenny, and we just didn't see it. So it doesn't mean that it wasn't there. It just means we couldn't see it. So let's start with this image here. And now I want Jenny to take a look at this, and I'm going to let her get closer to the mic. I didn't realize how sensitive this mic was last time. And let her get closer to the mic and tell you what she's seeing in this image. So take a look at this image, And of course, try to explain whether it's the left crater, the right crater, or below. There's, you know, all those areas you can take a look at and just see what you were seeing when you looked at these images.
Okay. In the left crater,
Okay.
like I told you quite a few times now, to
Mm-hmm.
me, in the left crater, I'm sorry, I'm still learning my left and right. 22 years old, still learning. But anyways,
You got it right.
in the left crater, that looks like a satellite dish to me. And then right next, above it, or next to it, however you guys want to see it.
Above it. Yeah,
Okay.
use the image plane to like if it's above in the
Okay.
image. That way they know where you're looking since we can't point to it.
Okay. Okay, above it, those look like, if you guys ever seen Star Trek, to me, those look like, um, those, what are they called?
The ships.
Yeah, those ships that look like this to me. I don't know how to.
Okay, like triangular shaped
Yeah,
ships.
triangular shaped ships. I cannot pronounce the word today.
That's all right. Okay, so it looks like two ships and possibly some sort of big satellite dish.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you see in the right crater? I'm going to take a drink while you're looking. All right. Go ahead and tell them what you see. And it's hard to tell because even when we zoomed into it,
It got blurry.
yeah, the pictures break up. But I remember you telling me about the tanks. Saw a big tank in that image.
Yeah, I saw what looked like a water tank to me.
Okay. And so, where was that? Explain where you saw that in the image.
I
About the middle of the crater?
Yeah, I wish there was a way you can zoom in so I can see it
Yeah.
better. But
Okay, so in the middle of the crater, you saw what looks like a water tank. All right, what else did you see in this image?
let me see if I get my phone so I can see it better.
Okay, hurry
I'm
and
sorry.
get your phone. So I'm going to tell you what while she's going to get her phone, because I sent the images to her on her phone, and she could zoom in a lot better on her phone right now. But we saw pipes, and they all seem to be connecting these tanks, although we're not exactly sure how or where they go because it winds up going off the screen. Well, not off the screen, but down and to the right, and then there's this big metal wheel that's in the way. All right, what do you see on your phone?
Okay, underneath that water tank that I was telling you guys about, underneath that water tank, I see some sort of wall, what looks like a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the wall is going to or what's around it, but it looks like some kind of wall just straight up. And now that I'm looking at it more, it looks like a fork with four things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to call that, but do I need to say
Keep going. Mm-hmm.
But
No, I was just turning it so we could get you more in the.
mm,
Okay, so past where the wall is in front of those water towers, and I'll show you in the model what we saw. It looks like four prongs of a fork, basically,
yes,
and those run into a pipe, and then you definitely have two pipes coming down, one on each side of another concrete wall, and that is right where she said that cable crane is. Now, like I said, please, I'm not saying that it's not there. Let's go back to our model. But I couldn't see it and I couldn't get enough detail to tell if that was it or not. So this is what Jenny was describing here. All right. And we have this big tank, which you can see pretty clearly in that image. And then there seems to be these walls, and this is the wall she said it was separating this tank Okay, this is what she's talking about. We could tell it looked like concrete. I thought I brought that up a little bit. Let me move him up where he's supposed to be. There he is. He was still sticking through the swim. Yeah, and then you had the actually 4 prongs coming out, but 2 of those specifically came on either side of this wall, and these were pipes. As far as we could tell, and there's these tanks here that these pipes seem to connect to, and you got this one long pipe across here, and this looked like another wall. All right, and so we saw that in the image, and then there seems to be this metal spool, and this thing is sticking through the ground, as you could tell, and it kind of has this look to it. It had these big teeth and this spool that stuck up in the middle. Let me go back to the image so you can see that. And can you see it where Sarah has the yellow circle? It would be on the about the between the 4 and 5 o'clock position. You'll see it. It's really dark black. All right, and it's near that wall, that quote unquote crater wall. If that's what it is, all right, is a crater. And I don't know if it was a crater and they just built inside the crater, or if it was a dome structure that collapsed and this was what was inside. But those pipes seem to go either, well, just to the right of where that spool would be. That's what it looks like. So let's go back to Blender here. All right, and that's where it seems to go. And I only modeled it to there because that's just, you lose a lot of detail when you get down in this area right here. It's so fuzzy. So I modeled them to there, but I believe they came all the way out to the other side of this spool. Okay. Then you had these weird shaped walls that were in there. And I don't know what these are for, but yeah, there's one here, and then there's one more here, and I have no idea. It almost look like goalposts for soccer or football if you're British. And then there was this thing here which really interested me, and I tried to model a shape as close as I could get detail on it. And she described what she thought this was. I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank, but you remember what it was?
No.
I can't remember. But anyway, okay, so this seems to be the shape that it has. And we can go back to the image once again. And now this will be located just outside of that yellow circle. All right. And it's hard to make out, but you'll see a building up there, and then there's one against that back wall. How to explain it? This is probably about between the 10:30, somewhere between 10:30 and 11 o'clock position. You'll see it just barely outside of that circle. All right, and it's in there. And this is what we saw and what I modeled. So, and then there was this weird building back here, and then there was this one. And this is just outside of that crater. Back to the image one more time. Oh, where's the enhanced image? Did I bring in the enhanced image? I bet I didn't. No, that's the blue panel. No, that's not going to do it. Oh, I should have brought that in. This building back here, though, was very, very hard to bring out, and it's just outside of that crater, and it's got this globe, this huge like globe on top, and I barely saw that, and I had to go back and burn through, and I meant to bring that image in, but if you look, it is in the image. You can actually see it. If I move this, can you see it underneath this? Yeah, there you go. So if I move this, you'll see it right underneath it. Can you see where I'm pointing right there and see that ball on top? That was really interesting to me.
Yeah, I see that.
You see it?
Yeah.
It's not just my imagination, right?
No,
See the
I
ball?
see that. Can you zoom in?
Yeah, it'll break up, but
No, I see it. I see that.
yeah, see that ball on top? I was
Yes, I
like,
do.
what in
I
the
see
world?
exactly what you modeled. I see the ball on top and then that arch.
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
That might be an idea. Instead of flipping back and forth between the models, maybe just I'll rotate that a little bit. There we go. All right, and then maybe just moving it here. Okay, these two objects here, these were hard to bring out, but we did. Now I'm going to move them over, since that seemed to work, and show you that those are right there. That looks like some sort of, oh, I got to move this over just a little more. Sort of a missile or something sitting on top of this platform that goes up, and then there's this object that's next to it, and I don't know what that is. And then of course this crater wall should have been raised up, but I got to focusing on this, and now I can put it back. All right, let's take a look at what this thing looks like. And this is kind of the shape it had. And I don't know what that thing is, what it's used for, if it's a missile, could be. And it had these pipes at the bottom. And there was this wall on the back. It kind of had this shape. And it had these, it looked like you could see the two fins on the top. And once again, let me just go back above it and just move it out of the way so you can see that it's actually there in the image. Can you see that right there? Do you see it, darling?
Yeah, I see
Can you
that
see the
missile.
parts going down right here? Let me move this a little more.
That's probably blocking it.
There we go. Now you see.
Okay.
Yeah, let me zoom out just a little bit. Guys, you see that? There are two pipes on the side of these vertical platforms, and then here's that wall on the back. I saw that, and I didn't know what to make of that, but it's there. And then there was this thing here. So, since we can see that, let's move this out of the way. And now, can y'all see that object right there? There it is. That's where it's at. And it seems to have this shape to it. That's an idea. I'm going to start doing it that way. Yeah, we figure something else out. Okay, now in this left crater, this is another one of those buildings like she was talking about. All right. And it has some detail on it. Looks like I got it rotated the wrong way. Okay, there we go. It should be rotated that way. Okay. And there's that building right there. And you can see it's light on top and dark underneath. All right. And that's the way we modeled it right here. So, oops, I'm going to have to rotate it again. Goes that way. And then this is kind of the shape that those ships had, and we couldn't get enough detail. It was so obfuscated, or just pixelated. I should say pixelated. But there you go. That's them right there. If you could see that. Let's make sure that we're still doing good here. Hey, we got audio this time. I didn't forget. All right, and see this shape, see the parts that stick up, and then you got the long part across here, and this is real blurry, and backing out doesn't help much, but you can see this part, and it has either a round shape or something, and that's kind of what we came up with on that. We're not sure if we're exactly right, but don't know if these are ships up there or what they are. But if those aren't ships, the next ones that I'll be showing really look like ships. Okay, so this is the stuff that we found in here, and then I was real interested in these. Now I'm going to show you this one on the left, the first one here, just because this one has a little more detail to it. Okay, now let me bring them above the plane here. There we go. Okay, so turn it at the right angle, you'll be able to see it. Can you see that, darling? It looks like 4 satellite style dishes, almost like a flower, you know, made like a flower, 4 petals. Okay, and then you can see this post sticking up, and I couldn't tell what this was. I just modeled it as a square here, but these seem to have this shape here, and they're overlapping discs, and if they are satellite dishes, they would be angled to bounce the signal back into this part here. That's what it seems. All right, that they would be angled that way. And there's 4 discs put together. All right, and they're there. If I zoom out enough, can you see any more? Yeah, you kind of see the lines in it to where these discs separate. All right, those are there, and then you had another set right here. And this one may have only had 3 discs, but I believe there is a 4th disc back here. And guys, we couldn't model everything in here. It took a while, and of course this video is already getting long. So let's move this back here. All right. And then here was another one of these buildings. And these buildings, and they have this kind of shape to the top. They're white on top, and they kind of have this keyhole shape on the top, and then they seem to be concrete underneath. And just so you can see that, let's move you over. You can just barely see the line of it right there, and there's some of them that are a little more detailed than this, but you can see it, I think, well enough to see those lines, right? Can you see those lines, darling?
Barely, but yes.
Yeah, they were real hard to see. Let me see. Here was some other interesting shapes, and this one, okay, had something on top, and I couldn't tell. I modeled it as round, but I don't think that's actually round. I think it's more of a square shape, but it has these ends that come off on both sides, and so we got this right here, and this is kind of the shape that I saw. And once again, white on top, concrete on the bottom. That's that one. And then here was another interesting shape building. Wow, in this image I didn't realize it went off the screen, but I have another image that showed that the other side is pretty much the same. All right, so that's, what did I do that? Just do that. Now this one, let me show you in the image before I show you what I modeled here. This was real hard to see, and I had to burn through this to try to bring it out. I think I used both the burn tool and the dodge tool to bring everything out. Let me zoom out, see if you, well, my little pointer's in the way. There we go. Can you see the shape of this? Let's see, it's going to be something like that. And then there's a wall behind it. This is what I saw. It seems to have this big pole sticking up in front of it. And then the building kind of looks like this. All right, there's 3 lighter areas, those bands around it. And then there was a concrete wall right behind it. And it had a little bit of curvature to it. And that's what I saw on that one. And then we saw this here, and I'll move this out of the way and zoom out. Ooh, that's pretty dark. Can you see that? Okay,
No, that's a little too dark to see for me.
I wonder if I could bring up my light. Whoa. Did I call that backlight or what did I call that? Let me think. Or did I just call it light? What did I call it? Or did I copy it from the sun? Yeah, it's just one of the suns. Okay, where is that sun? Oh, nope. That's the side light over there. Oh, I'll find the right one. Yep, that's the one. Okay, so let's bring up the strength a little bit. About a 4. Okay, let's try 5. I don't want to go too bright or it'll wash it out. Okay. Yeah, you kind of, well, you can't really see real detail in here, but it's there. The building is there. It's kind of hard to see, but it's actually right back here. All right. Hey, wish I would have brought in the burned image, but anyway, that one might be wrong about that one. But I don't think so. In fact, yeah, I see the wall now. Now I can see it. Right there is the wall. And I do have it rotated the wrong way. How did that get turned? Should be rotated like that. There we go. Alright. Now, 31 minutes. Boy, my videos go long. Alright. Now I want to get to this blue plane area. She found really, really interesting things in here too. And so let's go back to her image first. And that's this one. Okay. All right. So this is what I don't remember if this is what she burned out of it or if I had started burning and saved it. But anyway, we took and burned out a little more in this one. And before I marked it, I went ahead and yeah, it looks the same. So I may have burned it before I did all the well, before I loaded it up. But she had already marked this. The red circles are Sarah Michel's markings. And once again, she found some really interesting stuff in there. All right, so let's go back to Blender. Oops, helps if I do this first. All right, now we can go back to Blender. And probably the best place to start is here. This part had the most detail. And there was a lot of stuff in this one complex right here. And this seems to be a complex and not a crater. And it's got a flat wall here, a flat wall for this inner wall. And then it's got these parts that are also thicker. Like maybe this is a gate right here because it's got these thick columns. You see that? And then same thing here. And before I show you, let's move this out of the way so that you can actually see this. You can see inside this structure, we're at a high enough angle that we can see inside this structure, all right? And there is actually a concrete pad in here, but right in front of this wall. And this is what I saw on, oh, that's right, hit the right button. There we go. It really looks like there are two ships. One is smaller than the other. And it looks like those are some sort of ships sitting there. And there was something else right here, but I couldn't make out enough detail to see that. But that was really, really interesting. And tell me if you think that these look like ships, darling. Let's go back to her image. And, or do you have it on your phone again? The blue image.
The blue image? No.
Darn, I thought I sent that to you. Wait, scroll up. No, scroll up.
Yeah, see?
Slow down. This one. It's just not blue. I sent you the regular. Now, can you zoom in to that right there and tell me what you see in that, just in case I'm not correct.
Well, it looks like some kind of underground cave, like a shelter.
The whole complex, or what are you talking about?
Well, I see a hole, but that's what I'm saying. Like underneath, it looks like an underground shelter for when you go high during a tornado call.
Tornado warning.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And then above it, it looks like some kind of uh archway for you to walk on.
Okay.
That's what I see.
Okay. Now, right here, and this took some burning to bring this out to make sure that's what I was seeing, and it's going to be right here where she has it, the bottom of this red circle. There's this huge pipe coming out of the ground. Yeah, hopefully you guys can see that. That is huge. I mean, it stood up pretty tall and was wider than this building that is right next to it. And you see that building in the image from about this angle here. And if I move it, it's going to be dark, but that building is right here. All right. What do I keep doing? Okay, now this structure here, same thing. I was really intrigued by this. All right, it seems to have this outer wall, okay, that comes around. And then maybe this was an opening because I couldn't see a piece of wall in here, but I could see these thicker concrete like blocks on the end of it. So I could see that. And I believe this is a building. And, you know, let me move it out of the way so you can see in that structure there. Gosh, it's so dark. I gotta bring the light up on this one. Where's my... Oh, I never put the light here. That might be why it's still dark. Hold on. I can fix that. There we go. Now you can see it. Alright, so you can see inside this structure, and it seems to be a building right here, and probably this section should be raised up on my wall right here. Alright, and you can see that opening right there. It doesn't look like there's anything there, and it goes down. By the way, this I just left it on a flat plane for this. I was hoping I could rotate. I didn't actually model the detail into the terrain itself because originally I thought I was going to drop it on the moon, but this actually drops down over here. All right, and I don't know if these structures are domes that collapsed or this was the way they were supposed to be. But anyway, I could not see a wall right here. And guess what? There was another ship right there. And then there's this pipe. Now, I don't know if there's a fueling pipe for the ship because it went into this building and it also went down to this, what looked like a tank. It could have been square, could have been round. It was hard to tell, but it was below this platform right here. So I do not know, but you can see that ship. If I move this out of the way again, you can see it right there. And you can see this pipe that comes almost out to the ship. And then this part goes up over to the building, kind of disappeared. But when I actually use the burn tool, I always get confused between burn and dodge. The burn tool, you can see that the pipe went to the building. And then this one came out and then curved down. So back on that other image, you could probably see it better. But that was that. And then I never did get around to modeling this over here. I was going to do that because it seems to have some height to it right there. And then it flanges out at the top. It just kind of flanges out. And there's stuff inside of that. Now, we couldn't bring out enough detail of the stuff inside, but we could have at least put in that. But I ran out of time, and this was taking, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2, almost 3.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through these last couple of things real quick because we're at 40 minutes. What a surprise. And here's another one of the big pipes coming out of the ground. And by the way, there's more structures in here. I was able to use a burn tool and get out. But you can see this big L-shaped wall. You can actually see it underneath my model. And then there was this other L shape that seems to be turned. So let's move him out of the way real quick. And there's that pipe right here. And it has a flanged top, just like that. Oop. All right. And then here's those L-shaped walls. And let me move those out of the way. Oh shit. It helps if I have it on global orientation, as each one's facing a different direction. Ooh, just you and you. It's the only ones I want to move. Okay, there we go. And there you can see there's some sort of round-like structures in here. There's a C-shaped building, a backwards C-shaped building here that's standing way up on this huge platform. And I wish I would have had time to get to modeling these. But here's another one here. And there's a lot. I think if these are collapsed domes, that these were the cities inside. City-like structures. And who lived on our moon, I don't know. Or if these are mining operations, I don't know, but they look like just big holes in the ground. And I got the walls modeled, but like I say, this has been taking about 2 weeks. And you see more structures everywhere, these things sticking up. And so that's what we got on this video. There was a lot of stuff, and guys, there's even more stuff in this moon image. I started looking at other parts of the moon too, and you just see structures everywhere. So listen, on the next video we are actually going to look at this Gigapan by Neville Thompson. I was going to do one on Neal Spence, this next one, but I had been looking through both Neal Spence's. If you've ever been to his Gigapan page, please check it out. It's TerraForm Mars. And if you just type in Neal, N-E-A-L, Spence, S-P-E-N-C-E, Gigapan, you'll be brought to Neal's page. And Neal does some fantastic work, and I like his, and I also like Neville Thompson's. And this is the Gigapan that we're going to be looking at. And if you know anything about Gigapans, I'm sure if you've watched Mars Anomalies, that you know that there are images, several images that are taken by the rovers and then stitched together to make a seamless image. And specifically in this image, this is what made me want to do this one first. I don't know, babe, can you look in that orange circled area and you just tell me what you see in that? And guys, we don't know if that's what we're really seeing because she has actually seen this before, but I want her to describe what she sees.
In the orange circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, in the orange circle, what I see a woman and a child. The child looks to be standing, and what looks like to be giving the mother something, while the mother is sitting down on something. It looks like she's sitting down on the ground with her legs crossed, wearing a dress or a skirt.
I think it's a rock, but the rock goes back in here, but that's fine. Sorry. Go ahead, baby. Doing fine. Come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, so she's seeing what I'm seeing, and I found this. This is Sol 4823 from the Opportunity Rover, and I'll go back here so you can see this. And this is Opportunity Rover Sol 4823. Amazing release and carvings by Neville Thompson, and he does fantastic gigapans. Like I said, my two favorite gigapan artists are Neal Spence and Neville Thompson. I love both their works. But if you look at towards the left side of the image, you'll see what looks like a structure with this canopy-like thing hanging over, and there seems to be some sort of little statue or something in it. And as I was looking through this image, just looking around, I happened to notice this in the orange. I'm like, what in the world is that? And I went through GIMP and I cleaned it up and sharpened it up and tried to give it a little bit of contrast and brought out the shadows a little more. And this is what you see here is, I mean, you can see what looks like a person or at least some sort of bipedal animal, would be akin to maybe some sort of gorilla or orangutan or something, okay? Because they have some pretty heavy head features and the mouth area, but if they are, they also appear to be wearing some sort of pants. And so I thought, well, maybe they were like related to our Neanderthal people. I mean, it's hard to tell, you can't get enough in, but they definitely look like people or creatures. All right. And then in front of them, where I have these green arrows, the one in closest to the bottom, or what would be close to the rover, looks to be some sort of jug for carrying water or any kind of liquid, I should say. And then back here, this one's almost ghosted out, but it's there too. So we're going to look at that. And then we're finally going to get to one of Neal Spence's, and it just so happened that Chris did one on Neal Spence at TerraForm Mars, and I'm going to leave a link to both Neville Thompson and Neal Spence in there, and check out their Gigapan pages. And also, Neal Spence has a YouTube channel, TerraForm Mars, and I'll be darned if I can find it when I search for it. But because he gave me a link to his page, I can find it. But if you just search for TerraForm Mars, it's hard to find. So I'm going to leave a link to his page, and that way you can hopefully navigate over to the page pretty easy. But well, that's about all we got for tonight. And of course, this was a long video again. What do you guys think? You know, this is some pretty interesting stuff that Sarah Michel found, and I am really, really excited that she found all that stuff, because, and I believe she even said it, that she believed they were mining helium-3 on the moon. And we hear so many rumors about mining operations going on the moon that I think that that's probably correct. So listen, guys, you guys have a good week, and you want to say anything, baby, before we go?
Have a good night. Sleep well. Enjoy your week. Stay safe.
Thank y'all. Have a good week.